Welcome to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes, where we take the history of the West off the rails.
If you like your history unhinged, you are in the right place.
I'm Shay.
And I'm Jody.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole.
All right, Shay, I am so excited that we opened up our...
Sorry, I can't...
I'm so glad we...
can't stop laughing at you right now.
We opened up our research to the whole West because today I've got a story for you. There is so much that's up our alley: gambling, outlaws, a woman way ahead of her time, and, of course, some truly terrible men.
Are we going to bring up the elephant in the room that's on your face?
Yes. I came prepared. I'm in costume today. I have a mustache.
Stuck up her nose.
Well, it's from that pizza box. I don't know if you're, frozen pizza.
It's like Red Baron or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the brand of it. I probably should, but it comes with this and you can wear it. And it was ideal because today, as you'll hear, this mustache is not just for men. There's mustaches for ladies. Our character in this story.
Strong enough for a man, but designed for a woman.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, she, as you'll hear, was not a fan of this and probably would not appreciate me coming in costume.
Oh.
But here we are.
Right.
We are talking today about Eleanor Dumont.
Dumont. Was that French?
It is. It is so French. I thought, so Dumont is what I read at first, and I have family in Montana. Last name Dumont. So I was like, oh, I wonder, could they be related? No, not at all. And it's Dumont. I bet my family is Native American that has the name Dumont, but I'm guessing that's not original.
I thought you said that you're not actually any Native American.
No, these are by marriage. They're very Native American.
Oh, okay, I get it.
It doesn't take very long up their lineage to be 100%. So they're very, yeah.
Okay.
But they, by marriage, my aunt is not. But I'm sure they acquired this name somewhere. Back to the story. Eleanor Dumont, or better known as Madame Mustache. Yes, that was actually her nickname, Madame Mustache. And no, she did not ask for it, nor did she appreciate it. She was, however, a high-class gambler, businesswoman, and absolute boss at the card table. She made money, ran high-end gambling parlors where minors basically handed over their gold, and did all of this alone, traveling from town to town across the lawless West as a single woman almost her entire life.
Was this the 1800s?
It absolutely is.
Yes.
We are with the outlaws. She actually, this isn't in my story, so I'll go ahead and just throw it out there. She taught Calamity Jane how to shoot, or not from the beginning, but gave her some lessons. So to sharpen her aim.
Now,
so she was in that era with those people. Unfortunately, she got the nickname Madame Mustache, where Calamity Jane, Annie Oakley, all those people got great names. She got Madame Mustache.
I just listened to an episode of my favorite P&W podcast, Ouija Broads, about Calamity Jane.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, back in that day, a calamity can also be a reference to venereal infections.
Oh, no.
And so there was a lot of debate about where she got her name. And that might have been one of them, because she was well known that if you bought her a drink or two, she might be happy to go to bed with you.
Ah, interesting. I can see why they hung out.
Yeah.
There's moments in time where they're probably very much in the same space.
Yeah, but if you asked Calamity Jane, she would probably tell the story that she taught this Madame Mustache how to shoot, because that's what Calamity Jane liked to do. She was a big fish story lady.
Okay, back to my tale. So she had the nickname. She had been amongst these humans, Wyatt Earp, Calamity Jane, Billy the Kid, that era. That's her era. So
love it.
Because this is history and no badass woman is allowed to just win.
Nope.
Things take a turn. Well, let's just say in the end, it isn't as glamorous as the beginning. But get ready, because this one's got money, crime, whiskey, and murder. Yep, murder.
I love it.
We are going unhinged. Basically, all the things that make history fun. So let's start at the beginning. To start, we don't know a lot about Madame Mustache, but we do know she was born as Simone Jules in 1829, but we don't know where.
Already a great name.
Yeah, Simone
Jules.
Jules. Yes. She leaves that name behind, unfortunately, and becomes Eleanor Dumont. But she reports that she was born in Paris, but people are like, or New Orleans. So it's up for discussion whether she was born in Paris or New Orleans. She leaves her home in Louisiana at the age of 18. So we at least know that there is history in New Orleans. We're just not sure if she's actually born there.
Wait, I thought it was pronounced Nolans.
Well, I wonder if she would have. She liked to talk about her French background. Would she have used her?
She would have been New Orleans.
Something.
Bonjour.
Yes, I'm sure she said that a lot. I bet she said that a lot. She's born in 1829 and leaves Louisiana at the age of 18 years old, all by herself. A single girl at this point, and heads out to San Francisco.
Did you say 1889?
1829 when she's born. So 1849, or I'm sorry, 47. She leaves,
oh, wow. Okay. So early.
Leaves Louisiana. She makes her way straight to San Francisco where the gold rush is happening.
Sure.
And it gets off that train and she walks straight to the local saloon where they have card tables. And she becomes a dealer. Not just does she get really good at gambling, she becomes a woman dealer in the local saloon in San Francisco.
Say what?
She became quite well known.
They allowed women to do that?
No. But she finagled her way to the table and was very good at it. I don't know if there was a hole in the day, like nobody showed up. I don't know.
She wear a low cut dress while she did
it. Something. She got the job, did very well at it, became very successful, but became very well known and became a target. So the saloon let her go, and when they let her go, they said, "You should probably also leave town, just so you know." Because you're in danger.
Was it because people were bristling at the idea of a woman doing this job? Or was it people who lost the game and lost money and were...
From what I can tell, it's mostly the people that lost the game. Okay. And they wanted to blame her because she's a woman.
Okay.
So they didn't just lose fairly. There was a woman dealing the cards.
Sure. And women are underhanded and dishonest, of course.
I don't think the reputable folks of the town were complaining about her being a female dealer, as far as I could tell.
Yeah. Well, it's the cowards that always need somebody to blame.
Right. And when you lose a lot of money gambling and you can get addicted and then you've got nothing and you're destitute, you're going to look at her like she stole your money. So they let her go, said, "You should probably leave town. We think you're in danger." So she boarded a train with all the money she had saved. She, by this time, had accumulated quite a bit of money, took all of her belongings and went to Nevada City, California, where gold mining was thriving. And instead of panning for gold, she figured out the real money was taking the miners' gold. And so
mining the miners
at the card table. So gambling halls were nasty, dark, full of sweaty, drunk people. Lice-ridden men is what I read.
Oh, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Lice. They weren't just stinky. They had lice. I never thought about this.
They wanted to have sex with women there, too.
Right.
I think that's probably why they're like, hey, a bath is 5 cents. Why don't you do a nice bath before I take you up to the crib, right?
It's so relaxing. It's for you, not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also for me.
So these card tables were...
Also, wait, hold on. Yeah. It still, like, the West is very much loves to trick you with place names. Nevada City.
Right. I know. They're in California. I know. I keep going, now when did she get to Nevada? Oh, Nevada City.
I wonder if that was along the lines of the people that got to a place and thought they were in a different place and so named it.
Oh, I wonder, much like Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, or like Joseph Smith or whoever. I don't know if it was Joseph Smith who led the Mormons to Utah thinking it was California.
Oh,
I don't know if it was Joseph Smith or if it was Brigham Young or one of the other Mormon people. But led his flock to Salt Lake City and it was like, welcome to California. This is where Heavenly Father has sent us.
Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't know they were headed to California. I thought they just went, this looks nice.
You know where I learned that fact? It was from a movie I watched this week called The Heretic with Hugh Grant.
Oh, yeah. I was going to watch that. Was it worth it?
It was a little confusing at parts. Very kind of cerebral, scary movie. Like there's not jump scares.
Okay, that's kind of more my game.
Yeah, it's very it's interesting. I think you'll like it.
Yeah. I will not recommend Substance with Demi Moore.
No, everybody's been talking about how good that is.
It's a horrible
Is it? Oh.
I thought it was awful.
You know what? It's a terrible movie that I watched last night.
Huh.
Alien versus Predator Requiem.
What? You're saying what?
I fell asleep 4 times.
Oh no, I did this too, but then I had to see the end, and it was just, to me, first of all, it didn't make sense. Like this is way off topic. This is a woman who gets to change bodies back and forth between a young one and an old one, but she has to do it every week. But you're the same person. You just get 2 bodies.
You just wait. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Well, we could cut this too. But the thing is like when she's the young one, she does all these things that make it hard for the old one. I hate saying old one.
She's like 45.
Like my age, old one to me more. She's only slightly older than me. Anyway, and then she does things that pisses off the other one. I'm like, no. You're the same person in 2 bodies. Don't act like you don't know what's happening here.
Okay. That would be
And then
obnoxious.
so like she comes back into this body and she looks around. She's like, you've left this mess. You've done these things. I'm mad. I'm like, no, you're literally the same person.
You did this.
And then I could never get past that.
Okay.
So and then it's filmed a little differently. There's probably a style to it. I don't appreciate it. I find it corny.
Okay.
Probably is a very artistic thing.
Well, now you've set me up to go in expecting to be disappointed. So maybe
maybe
I'll
like it. I may have improved the movie for you.
There you go. Heretic, good. There's some things in it that don't make sense that really left me scratching my head. And then the ending is very much left to interpretation.
Oh, okay. Neither of those things am I a fan.
So that bit kind of leaves you like, there's like, wait, how did that, and what architect built this house? Mm-hmm. But Hugh Grant's character, fantastic. He was so good.
I like
Hugh Grant is good.
Stuff.
You don't have to keep the mustache on.
Okay. I was in the part. No, I'm just kidding. It's really starting to annoy me.
Is it starting to get soggy being up your nose?
No, not yet. I was surprised. Must not have a very runny nose.
Okay.
Oh, now it itches though.
Now where were we? Okay, so she went off to Nevada City.
Oh, okay. This is where I really start to enjoy her as a human. So we talked about how these are terrible places. They're dark, they're smelly, they're full of drunk, lice-ridden men. Right. But for Eleanor, she had a different vision for her gambling establishment. She was like, absolutely not. She opened her own parlor called Vin et Un, which is blackjack in French, means 21.
Okay.
Vin et Un. Anyway, so 21, and we'll go. But that was the name of her establishment. Very high class, right? And then she served champagne instead of whiskey.
Oh,
no whiskey,
fancy, and no toe in it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of lame for the time, but no toe.
Could have improved this drink with a toe.
If people are wondering why, look back at our other episodes.
Sorry, another sidebar. So did I tell you, somebody commented on one of the posts for last week's episode about the sour toe cocktail and said that she is a member. So I was like, oh my God, you have to email me, tell me everything. So we'll see.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Like, oh my God, I want to hear details.
Someone actually, we may get to hear from an actual
member of the sour toe. I don't think you're supposed to suck on the toe.
Okay.
You're just supposed to let it touch your lips.
Okay. The toe kisser. I know it's
no shame.
Mummified.
I'm very proud of you for being braver than Jody era.
Yeah, Keith said he would do it. He agreed to
We're gonna do it next summer. We'll go
let's
make
drive
a
through.
Trip. Yep. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So not only did she serve champagne instead of whiskey, she hired respectable women to work there.
Women with more than one dress.
Women with very nice dresses, more than one, and they had to be nice. And they were not sex workers. They were to work. They were card dealers. They served the drinks.
Oh.
They were high class. They were not for sale. And they were the only women allowed in there because she didn't want distractions.
Okay.
So she didn't let women gamblers in there because she didn't want them taking away from what she was trying to do.
Okay.
And when you're dealing with these type of men, she didn't need the distraction.
So the women, though, were there to entice the men to spend more money, basically.
Kind of. They weren't there like with their tatas out. They weren't showing cleavage. They were high-class women. They were there. They were reputable.
But those men probably always had that thought in the back of their mind that like maybe
if
I continue
if
I show off how much money
but
she'll give in.
Yeah, she ran a really tight ship. You weren't to mess with these women. They worked there and they were to be respected.
So she didn't allow any sex work?
Not at this time.
Okay.
we'll hear about her venture into that later. But at this time, she was keeping those businesses separate. She wanted to make sure to make money at the gambling tables by gambling and having a well-run gambling establishment. You'll hear in the end too, like everyone, outside of probably some people that lost a lot of money and the people in San Francisco, they really respected her. She paid out. When you won big, she paid out what she had to pay. She didn't try to scam you, which I guess other establishments were doing, trying to get away with not giving you your winnings, but taking your losings.
Interesting. Okay.
She was well known for being on the right side of that.
So you're saying that this is a woman who probably could have made a casino in Atlantic City work and not go bankrupt?
Correct. Even she would have been able to manage that business.
She's a dumb woman.
Yes, dumb woman. She would have been a DEI hire, but also successful.
Right. She wouldn't have run a casino into the ground.
I mean, I guess that's what DEI is, but, letting those who can do. But back to anti-DEI, where we hire people because we like their white faces. And they're loyal. Okay, back to the story. So she did not, like I was saying, she did not put up with nonsense. No rowdy men. You were kicked out. Cheaters, you were publicly humiliated. If she caught you as a cheater, she'd tell the town you'd be publicly humiliated. She was running a business, not a drunken brawl. And for a while, it worked. And she made a lot of money. So this is where we now get to learn about her nickname, Madame Mustache.
Yes, please.
But first, since we are not gamblers, Shay, we need to take a break.
No, the most I will spend is $20 on video blackjack at the casino bar.
It's time to hear from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Which you never know. It might be an online casino.
It could be. Could be, but we're not the gamblers.
No.
Okay, welcome back. Hopefully the ads did not try to entice you into losing all of your money gambling. But if you do, 21's the way to go. When Eleanor was younger, she was known for being an elegant, beautiful woman. But as she got older, she developed a bit of a mustache. So you see these pictures over time, and they're not really pictures. They're drawing sketches of her, obviously. There's a couple, looks like photographs. But it's funny, if you go online and look up Eleanor Dumont, you will find this same photo of her with and without a mustache. So I'm like, wait, which one's edited? The one with the big furry mustache or the one with no mustache? So, it's obviously the same picture.
At that time, like beauty regimens for dealing with a hairy upper lip had been going on for centuries. There were bleaches and she could have shaved it.
I have wondered this because it did bother her. And by this things that I've seen, it was pretty extensive mustache. It wasn't just a little bit of a hurry.
My peach fuzz.
Right, exactly. That turns dark over age.
Right. Shave off once a month.
A significant mustache. And so I don't know why. And, there was shaving happening. These men were shaving.
It's not like she couldn't have access to a straight razor.
Right, exactly. So
or bleach.
For not liking it. In this name, she... I'm surprised she didn't do anything
Interesting.
about it.
I mean, women had been bleaching their body hair for hundreds of years.
Right. I was wondering, where's the maintenance here? I mean, she was doing her hair. She was dressing very nicely.
Interesting.
She was.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe she didn't really mind it that much, and she maybe she took it as a badge of something.
Honor.
I don't know.
It's reported she didn't like it, but she did nothing about it. But as she got older, of course, she developed a bit of a mustache. And because men of the 1800s were just as mature as they are now, they started calling her Madame Mustache. It was actually a game where she was dealing and somebody lost money and he got mad at her and he's like cursing at her and then called her Madame Mustache. And of course, the whole place heard it and they're like, oh. And there they went. And she became Madame Mustache from that time.
Rude.
Did she love it? Absolutely not. Some sources say she laughed it off. Others say it really got under her skin. But either way, history is annoying because this woman literally built an empire. And yet somehow the mustache is what people remember her for.
Yeah.
And she did this all alone. That's what I just keep thinking the whole time. At this time, you're in the Wild West. It's the 1800s and you are a woman amongst all these dirty, dangerous men.
Right.
And becoming successful and keeping yourself for the most part safe. Not completely, but for the most part.
It's a woman can't have anything on her own or any successes of her own.
Right.
Otherwise, it's threatening. And so we have, there's this tendency to try to find a way to somehow put her down, to put her back in her place.
Right.
Because the idea of a woman having some sort of power that is normally held by a man is threatening. And that wasn't just the 1800s.
It continues to this day. So, like I was saying, she's built this entire empire. She owns an establishment normally owned by men. She's running it in a way that's not attracting all the seedy. She's keeping it clean. And yet people remember her from her mustache. But Eleanor never stayed in one place too long. She set up gambling parlors across California, Idaho, Montana, and Nevada.
Oh, wow.
Wherever gold was flowing is where she went.
Oh, she followed the gold mining rushes that happened throughout the 1800s.
Yep. As the towns dried up, so did her establishments. And so she just followed the gold and kept following it.
Wow.
And I imagine there was a lot of people that also did that. So she was well known by the time she got there. So by the time she would find a place to set up shop, everybody was ready to go.
Because maybe a lot of these miners had come from the last mining town. And they're like, oh, yeah, Eleanor over there, she runs a tight ship in a great place. And there's always lovely looking ladies there.
As soon as she was in town, she was set up ready to go because she had that reputation. But here's the thing. Being a single woman in the Old West, it's not easy. Being rich, single woman, extremely dangerous. She was robbed multiple times, harassed constantly, and had to be tough as hell to survive.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, like back then, especially if you're in an industry like gambling, where you have large amounts of cash, you probably can't park them all in a bank. And then if you're moving from town to town to town, it's not like there's electronic records.
You're
so
literally
you'd have to
taking
go
that with
to
you.
San Francisco to get your money, but you have to have large amounts of cash on hand at all time because you have to be able to pay out those bets. So it's either you have money in banks across the West, or you just have a big safe.
Or you have it in your bra, you have it in your shoes, you have it in your waist, you have it.
But I mean, she's going to be dealing with thousands and thousands of dollars that they've brought in. And
But that part just shocks me. I mean, it's just so dangerous for her to have been doing that without money.
Well, yeah. And think about like every time she moves town, she's traveling with all of that money.
Yep. And people
there's
know.
Less oversight. Yeah. There's less people around to keep her safe.
They all know when, the town's closing up and where they're all headed. And it's just crazy to me. So she did have some run-ins, but she was able to survive it. And she just kept moving, setting up new businesses, raking in cash, just staying ahead of the chaos. She was smarter than most of them, from what I can tell. She was ahead of the business, ahead of the crime, but because no good story is complete without one catastrophic mistake, she got married.
Oh, that'll do it every time.
Yep. And so she met a man in one of her establishments. He was a bartender. His name was Jack McKnight.
Oh, those bartenders will get you every time.
He was the literal worst. He convinced her. So she had taken the time. She's getting on in her age, right? Doesn't want to be traveling all over. It's been dangerous. Time to settle down. How do I do that and stay making money? Especially if this town's going to dry up just like all the others. So she bought a ranch. She wanted to get into cattle ranching, something where she could stay in one place and still make money.
So she wanted to like settle down, basically.
Not necessarily with a man. She did this on her own. She wanted to do it on her own. But
But just settle down and not be, doing the traveling.
Turns out she's really good at a lot of things. Ranching is not one. She struggled hard. It wasn't working.
Oh my God, the dog just farted.
Oh, does it smell like a cattle ranch? That's the effects. Those are special effects.
You put special effects of poop smell in the air just to bring the story to life.
Yeah. Are you feeling more in it?
I am. Oh God.
What did you feed him?
Well, he was bugging me when I was trying to write this morning, and so I gave him the treat ball full of peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my eyes are literally
It's
watering.
wrong gas. It's not made its way across. You can keep it.
You were so cute, but so stinky. Okay.
How does that come from such a tiny thing?
I know.
Tiny cute thing.
Silent but deadly, and he's like asleep. Okay.
As a rancher, she was not quite as successful. She was really struggling. So this bartender convinces her he's a very successful rancher in his past life, and he's out here bartending, I guess, in the West for fun. I don't know, but he has somehow...
I got tired of cows. I needed a human interaction.
Yes. Yeah. He's convinced her that he can really get her where she wants to be with her cattle ranch. So
all you have to do is give me access to all your money.
Absolutely.
By marrying me, because that's all you have to do at that point.
And now the ranch is his. It's all signed over to him.
Yep.
All the money is his. He promptly, within months, sells the ranch, takes every single penny she has, and leaves town.
Oh,
she had absolutely nothing after all those years of what she did as a single woman, avoiding marriage and all its pitfalls for this reason, and marries one wrong guy, and he took everything. But Eleanor, being Eleanor, she did not just let that slide. She went and took care of business.
She track him down and shoot him?
She sure did.
Yes!
2 shots to the chest.
Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. I got to keep my pants on, but please tell me the story.
She tracked him down and personally shot him. That was the next sentence of my story. So you got it. Twice in the chest.
Sorry, I don't mean to sound so gleeful over somebody murdering somebody else, but...
Well, you sound like maybe the sheriff of that town, because he was like, I think he deserved it. Right. She was never arrested. The sheriff said, no witnesses, no evidence, and no one admitting to it. So no arrest.
All right.
Also, he deserved it. So she went back to Nevada City without a husband and without a single dime. She was not able to recoup the money that he took. I don't know what happened to it. She shoots him, and that's the end. And she is destitute and broke. So despite her revenge and retribution, she has not recovered her loss.
Yeah.
And so he's dead, and so are her finances. So what becomes of her? Well, we're going to find out after the break.
Oh, man. You got me all worked up now.
I know. I feel like a really good television show where they leave you on a cliffhanger. So we'll see you when you get back. Welcome back. I hope the ads we left you with were as adventurous as this episode.
Yes. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, I'm thinking about what they've been playing. So it's a lot of commercials for BECU.
Nice. I love BECU.
There'll be like 3 commercials for BECU. And randomly one week, even though I'm in Washington, I was getting all these advertisements for utility companies in Alaska.
Oh, it's the Northwest.
Sure. If I ever move to Alaska, I will know what...
do you have options?
Cable service provider to go with.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're wondering, Eleanor was never able to really get her feet back under her. With everything that she'd worked so hard for gone, she returned to what she knew and was successful in. She set up a brothel this time. So Eleanor picks up her stuff and heads this time to Bannock, Montana. And this time she took up a little bit of a different establishment. This time she went for the sex work.
Okay.
And she set up a brothel where the women were dressed in high-end clothing. They were dressed to the nines, their hair perfect, their makeup perfect. They were bathed. These were high class.
More than one dress.
Women. More than one dress. And she expected, again, like her other establishments, that the men that entertained themselves there would behave a certain way. Mm-hmm. She had really high standards for this. She did take the ladies, I guess, when business was slow, put them in her little on a wagon, a carriage, and drove them through town, showing off her assets and how beautiful they were, and drawing attention to get customers. A little billboard.
So I just picked up this book. I think it's called like Doves of the West, and it's about prostitution in the West. And they were saying, there was like there were several different levels of houses that sex workers worked at.
Right.
So you had your really upper class ones like this, where the women were well bathed, they were well mannered, they were educated, and men went there and had companionship and titillating conversation. They were intelligent women.
Yes.
And then they got that at the end. And so this is where the upper class men would go.
Yeah.
And then you had your next one down that was not quite as fancy, but still maybe those women had more, like I keep saying more than one dress, because that was one of the things, is that a lot of sex workers literally had one dress.
Right.
That they would just continue to mend over and over and over again and wash. And then you went further down and further down. But that is one thing that they did mention in this book, is that some of these establishments would put their most attractive ladies in a wagon and take them around town, but they would also hold grand balls at their establishment to show off the women and show off what a well-run place, wonderful place this was for entertainment.
Right. It wasn't going to ruin your communities. Right. It wasn't going to bring the seedy. It was a high-class version, yes.
And I guess another thing some of these houses would do is they would take some of their the women who worked there, and they would go out they would follow some of these mining communities occasionally and just set up shop for like a couple of weeks, make a bunch of money, and then go back to their house.
Oh yeah,
in their main town, which
so kind of like Nevada now.
Yeah.
I was following someone on social media, a couple ladies, and they're stay-at-home moms except for like 1 week a month.
Yeah.
And they go work in the bunny house, and they come back, and that supports their entire family.
Yeah, and then they can be amazing mothers and support their kids and be there for their kids all the time.
And there's a lot of testing and safety and all these things.
Why not?
Yeah, right? I
have no issue with it whatsoever.
I don't either. I don't know that I could do it, but I know that I support it. I see the value in it, especially for these moms. They get to spend so much quality time with their kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were at where she puts them in a wagon and parades them around town.
I wonder if she started that, because it was a big deal for her. I didn't know other people had done it.
In the next year, because I have 2 books on prostitution in the West. And so I think the next year is going to be a lot of stories of prostitution in the West from me, because it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. All this survival stuff of the West is fascinating to me. So many ways to have survived and not survived. Mm-hmm. So she loaded them up. She drove them around like a live billboard, advertising the goods, and this worked. It did tick off the women in the town. Now, the non-sex workers, the wives, the mothers, they did not enjoy this running through their town with their kids in town.
You had your like women's temperance league sort of people.
Yeah. But by the late 1870s, Eleanor's luck had run out. The gambling scene had changed, and she was getting older. People weren't as eager to throw their money at her. So in 1879, she ended up in Bodie, California, one of the roughest mining towns of the time. She tried to start up her usual gambling operation, but it didn't work out, and she was broke, alone, and out of options. She had been desperate for money since she had lost it all to Mr. McKnight. In fact, she had never been able to recoup or get her feet under her, even with her other ventures in Bannock, Montana. It was enough to stay alive, but she was never filling her coffers like she had been before. Everything had changed, kind of. We're getting past that era of life, and so the way she was making money wasn't as profitable anymore.
Well, what year was this that she ended up back in California?
By the end, it's 1879.
Okay. Wow, that's all happened fast. Was 1877?
Yeah, she went from 18 to 50 here. So she leaves town at 18 years old, and she was born in 1829. So she spends from 18 to 50 running all of these.
47 that she went.
Yes. And so
she went back west. Okay.
Spent all of her up to 50 years old doing this.
Okay.
But now it's all changed a bit, and she's not able to really fill her bank account anymore. So now that she's in Bodie, she's borrowed $400 from a well-known gambler and went out gambling one night. This is equivalent, I think, to $10,000 or $12,000 today.
Okay.
So he loaned her this money. She's a well-established winning gambler. So the odds were good that he would get his money back. But unfortunately, she did not. She lost every bit of that in one evening. And now she was destitute. She had nothing. In fact, owed $400 now. She walked to the local emporium. She purchased morphine. She acquired her favorite bottle of red wine, and she went out a mile from town, sat under a tree, took the morphine, and drank the bottle of wine.
Oh.
A goat herder found her the next day, her head laying on a rock, her body laying there quietly, and a note. And the note had admitted what she had done. She'd purchased the morphine, drank the wine, and said she was just really tired of life.
That's how I'd want to go anyway.
Right? I know, that's what I was thinking.
Go to sleep. I'm so tired all the time. That sounds lovely.
Right. And, narcotics such as morphine make you happy on your way down.
Happy and sleepy.
Happy to sleep. Yep. So the next day, people found out that she had actually passed away and how, and they gave her a proper burial.
Oh, that's
Turns out,
nice.
even in death, she was highly respected. Some of the quotes from the locals. Poor Madame Mustache. Her life was as square as a game ever dealt. The world played against her with all sorts of combinations, but she generally beat it. The turn was called on her at last for a few paltry hundreds. She missed the turn. None of the old boys were there to cover her bet for her, and she passed in her checks. Game to the last.
Oh.
Poor Madame Mustache. And she had the reputation of being honest in her dealings and even always paying her debts. Upon this, she prided herself, and woe anyone to claim she did not play fair. It is said that of the hundreds of funerals held in the mining camp, that of Madame Mustache was the largest. The gamblers of the place buried her with all honors, and carriages were brought in from Carson City, Nevada, a distance of 120 miles to attend her funeral.
It's a long way to go by horse.
Yes, it is. And for that, like, you're going there to honor her. You're not going to come home with money. You're not going to come home with,
It costs you money to go.
Yeah, a lot, and time.
Yeah.
120 miles in that era. It's not an airplane flight and the one back.
No, that's a couple days ride.
Yeah. So that's it. Eleanor Dumont, an absolute legend of the West. She was too smart, too independent, and too ahead of her time for the world she lived in. So what are your thoughts, Shay?
Oh, amazing.
I know. I loved it.
I love hearing these stories about women that made a life for themselves and made a business like this in a man's world.
Right.
And just the perseverance and the strength and the quality of character. And it just sucks that she, unfortunately, it was a man that took her down.
Right. Yes.
Like
that she was so careful all the way up to that
was
point.
The tipping point.
He must have been quite convincing. This is, I was thinking he must have been charming and convincing for her to have fallen for that. She had been amongst men.
Yeah.
This whole time. She'd beaten them in card games and business.
He worked for her, right? So
yeah,
maybe there was a level of trust she had in him and intimacy of, of friendship that he was able to take advantage of.
Right. He convinced her that they were, in love, and that was not the case.
No.
One got by. A sneaky one got by. She had managed to keep them at bay. And
well, I mean, it's a problem as you get older, you start to get even more insecurities.
Right. And I'd imagine, as you're getting closer to 50, she wasn't quite 50 at that time. She died at 49, 50. She could see that, as we all do, and just like the movie I was talking about, women become less valuable as we age.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in society, our value goes down as we age.
Yep, it's true.
And she had seen that and was trying to get ahead of that, like she did everything else, and come up with another way to make money and keep herself, funded.
Yeah.
And turns out she wasn't good at that one task, so she tried another way to do it, and it was the wrong choice.
Yeah, that's a shame. That was a great story. I absolutely love it.
This is why when I was reading it, I was like, oh, yes, this is why we do this podcast. I love these stories.
Yes, this is like the excitement for a story that I feel like we've been maybe searching for the last couple of months.
Yeah.
When we're trying to deal with, sometimes we have to block out the external world, right?
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
Right now, I think since November, we've both been a little bit down in a ditch of despair.
Right. It's hard to talk about history without talking about politics.
Yeah.
And politics are rough right now.
Yes. So
they're no matter what in that story, there's politics somewhere.
Right.
There's societal roles. There's all of these things
Gender
that still
roles.
trouble us today.
Right. Yeah.
And it's hard to talk about them and not refer to
what's
especially
happening. When you think about, the suffrage movement that has worked for decades to try to advance women's station in life.
Right.
To try to be more of an even playing field. And it's been decades of hard work and blood and sweat and tears. And things have happened in the last couple of years that have pushed it back.
Oh,
decades.
Significantly. It is.
And that's really disheartening.
It's disheartening. And it feels to me, I know I've talked to you about this, that I feel like I need to take action somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I owe it to those women. I was born in a time where it was not legal for a woman to have her own bank account, that a man had to be on that as a signer.
Right.
That's in my lifetime. And the only reason I can have a bank account on my own, I don't, but I can, is because of them. And I feel like sitting here doing nothing is such a slap in their face.
Right.
They were out in those streets. They were out with those signs. They were getting ridiculed by people in their societies, ostracized. They were getting arrested and having to pay bail and any legal things that come from it. And I'm sitting here basking in the sun of the rewards of that and doing nothing to protect it.
Right.
Shame.
Well, we can highlight stories of women who rose above their quote unquote station in life to do things that normally men would do.
Yep. That's right.
And remember them.
Yep. That's right.
Is one thing we can do, at least with this podcast.
And she did it with good in mind. She wasn't in there going, I'm going to get rich in the gambling scene by scamming people, getting people so drunk, I'm going to steal their money,
right?
Offing people who are winning too much here. I'm going to do this on the up and up, and I'm going to do a good job, and I'm going to make money. And she did.
Yeah. Amazing story. Thank you for sticking a mustache up your nose for it too. Really appreciate that.
Yes. I couldn't wait. Actually, it was in my pocket.
I turned to do something and looked up, and she has this mustache on her face, and I'd lost my crap. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging in there with us. Really appreciate you guys, all the people that are still continuing to listen to us and are listening to our episodes every week when they come out. We really, really appreciate that. It really means so much to us. Really appreciate all the people that reach out to us. Like this week, a listener named Laura reached out and said that she has just signed her mom and herself up for my April 19th Stadium High School tour. And then she followed us on all the social medias, and we've been messaging back and forth. And I want to also thank the Live, Laugh, Larceny podcast.
Oh, yes.
Which a couple weeks ago featured my listener story on their podcast about...
It's a must listen.
It's a must listen. It is a little bit of me bringing my shame to life, my gut issues to life.
Shame dies in light. It lives in the dark. So put it out there.
Hey, everybody poops. Everybody has had stomach issues at some point.
So if you're wondering.
So go listen to Live, Laugh, Larceny. It was the episode, I think it was entitled, Now That's What I Call Listener Stories. Now That's What I Call Listener Stories, Album 3 or something. Like, remember Now That's What I Call Pop Music 3.
Oh,
you know, the CDs.
Right.
That's how they set it up. Very funny. They are so good. They took that story with limited information that I gave them, and they made it perfect.
They did.
I mean, chef's kiss. The only thing they got wrong is chicken fried steak is not chicken, but that's okay. I still like the way they did it, where you're like, mother and child come together on the plate.
I know. I've always thought of this. And when they said it, I thought I was the only one. I was the only one that thought this was like morbid. I'm like, first of all,
having
you're right.
eggs
It's not
and chicken.
Yeah.
No, it's, but that's fine. Other than that, everything else
we
was
bred
kind
the
of
chicken
perfect.
and egg and then fry it. And I'm always like, oh, that's macabre. That's
Yes. Well, and then if you served it on a plate with eggs too, it's a little weird.
so weird.
But they did an amazing job. And I love their podcast. If you need something light to listen to that's just going to make you laugh, they do an amazing job. Love, Live, Laugh, Larceny. And they are friends with our friends, Caitlin and Cassie from P&W Haunts and Homicides.
Nice.
Who we will actually we're going on a Pod Gals trip here by the time this comes out, we'll probably be about to take off on it. And we are going down to Portland. We're going to go on the Shanghai Tunnel Tour, which we're very excited about. And
I'm kind of scared because I'm scared of being shanghaied.
Even though it's a term we're not really supposed to use anymore.
Oh, really? Dang it. You're going to have to fill me in.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, a racist term.
See, and I feel like it's offensive to those Shanghaiing people, but apparently...
It was only because the people were being kidnapped to be sold as
got you.
Indentured servants on ships that were trading with China.
Got you.
That's why it was called that.
I gotcha. So what do we call it then? Just kidnap? That doesn't seem like good enough.
Yeah,
stronger verbiage.
I don't know. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna stay at the Crystal Hotel.
Oh yes, I haven't stayed there, but I've been there.
hole. We're going to do lots of fun things. Who knows what adventures that weekend. It's just one night. Oh, we're going to go stay in Astoria. You and me.
Yes.
And we're going to go to the Astoria underground shops that I had no idea existed. I'm very excited.
I know we've been there and did not
I've been there so many times. Had no idea this existed. It looks amazing. So, guys, if you want to hear more stories about amazing women from the West, why don't you email me with your ideas? I love hearing from you guys. Shea, SHEA, at rainydayrabitholes.com. You can reach out to us through the website, but I might be slower to respond that way because it gives me a message that I have a message and then I go check the message. I'd rather just check the message. Email me directly. And then please, if you can, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review if you feel up to it. Hopefully it's a 5-star review. Somebody has left a 1-star review, but they didn't put a review in with it. They just gave us a 1-star rating, and there's somebody who left us a 2-star rating, and I'm very upset.
Well, yeah, give us some feedback.
Yeah, give us feedback. Everybody else, it's been 5 stars.
Nice.
So we have a 4.6 rating, which I think is fine.
Good.
That's not bad.
That's really good considering the really low.
Yes.
They can really take it down.
Yeah.
It means we have a lot of good ones.
We were probably being too political.
Probably. But again, it's so hard to do.
Right. Well, I think that there's...
And I think we're past the point of being...
precious about it.
No, like not having a side at this point.
Yeah.
Not having an opinion about this point.
We can't not air our opinions to a point. So, because people are being harmed.
Yep, 100%.
And that makes us sad. So, anyway, we are good people.
Good people.
And we don't like bad things happening to good people.
Correct.
Okay. And that's it. All right. Well, thank you guys. Remember, you can find out more about everything at rainydayrabitholes.com. And we will see you next time.
See you down the rabbit hole.